guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we continue our celebration of the Euros with a review for Mean Machine, starring Vinnie Jones and Jason Statham. So Mean Machine is essentially a rip-off of The Longest Yard, but within British culture. It's actually quite hard to know where this story started from because there's just so many different renditions of it, to the point that it's becoming like that Spider-Man meme. I think you can even look at things like Gridiron Gang, for example, and say that they definitely got inspiration from films like Mean Machine and The Longest Yard, despite being a true story. And essentially the story is, in the case of Mean Machine, Danny Mean Machine Meehan, played by Vinnie Jones, is a professional footballer at the height of his game who ends up getting arrested for drink driving and assaulting an officer. He has a pretty rough adjustment to life in the cells before being offered a chance to coach the prison football team. And cutting a very long story short, it ultimately ends with a football match between the prison guards and the prison convicts. Now, how is the movie itself? I personally feel it's a pretty rough start. Character-wise, it's quite hard to connect or grip onto any single one character. It moves very quickly to start with. It doesn't spend a lot of time with people. It very much starts with a go, 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 go attitude to just get you to the point of where the story is actually going to flourish. I don't know if that's really a good thing or a bad thing. I suppose it's a little bit of both. You don't necessarily get to connect with the characters, but at the same time it's moving at such a pace that you're invested, you're following it, you want to know what's going to happen, and actually that style of bombastic filmmaking kind of fits the emotion of what's happening. I imagine if you had been drink driving and suddenly found yourself with cuffs on your wrist, it probably would be a little bit of a blur. So for me, I actually kind of like that. And after that bombastic start, it does eventually slow down and give you a chance to know Danny Meehan and his other cellmates and the prison guards around him. The writing is decent and the characters often get very good scenes, very memorable scenes with great quotes.
What's that?
I'm your manager.
Since when?
Look, don't bother giving me no orders, yeah?
Look, stop bitching, bitch.
It does on some level feel like a fairly shallow way of delivering character, but yet somehow it works here, and I think it is because each of these little nuggets of great quotes, they do feel like they belong only to the character that says it, and therefore gives you some idea of what that character is like. I do find the tone of this film quite confusing at times. It is quite unbalanced. It wants to be a very light-hearted, easy watching, football, family-friendly film on some level. But then on the other side, it wants to be this really dark and gritty and quite nasty, malicious prison movie. And it doesn't always blend, but it is quite surprising how well it does work at times. I think the performances are all pretty good. Vinnie Jones is very calm in this, actually. He's very laid back, and it's quite nice to see that from Vinnie Jones rather than this loudmouth, big, scary dude that we normally get. He feels quite relatable, actually. Danny Dyer is quite funny here. I think the humour actually works because you wouldn't expect this sort of role from Danny Dyer. Not now, at least. 20 years ago, maybe, but not now, you wouldn't. And yeah, I'm on board with it. The humour doesn't always work, but as a character, he is just sort of quite adorable and likeable. The guard Ratchet, I apologise, I cannot think of the actor's name, I'll put it up here. I really like this actor. I have seen him in odd bits and bobs here and there, really random things. I think he was in Green Street is what I remember him from mostly. He as an actor really knows how to play a fucking horrible bastard, doesn't he? Like, if you want somebody who is just hateful, you get him to do the job, because it literally seeps out of him how nasty he is. And I think it makes the film a lot better to have this antagonist that you can really hate and want to see fail. But I have to talk about what I think is absolutely the strength of Mean Machine, and that is the relatability to football for the modern man like myself. Some of the prison players are so bad that you can't help but look at them and just go, yeah, I've been there. You also recognise other players that you have played a match with. There's always the guy who's super silky and smooth on the ball, and the ball seems to be super glued to his feet at times. There's always the team psychopath who, one bad word said to him, he's probably going to break somebody's jaw. And there's always the big guy who, he's got 2 left feet, but he's got all the enthusiasm in the world, and he'll certainly give it his best. It's so relatable. It's such a... yeah, pretty much any Tuesday night pay-to-play sort of situation, you'll find these characters there, and I think that's brilliant that they put that into the film. My personal favourite character of the lot has to be Jason Statham as the monk.
Ref, do you hear that? Yeah, do you hear that, ref?
I'm not worried. He said it to you, not me.
I like this character because he doesn't really talk, and as a character you don't really know anything about him at all, and yet I feel like as a character he might actually have the best development in the whole film. That's right, the guy who barely talks gets the best character development. All you actually know about this guy, and I quote, is that he did something very dark in Glasgow. Even the Scottish are afraid of him, and the rumour is that he ate Hannibal the Cannibal. He seems to have these daydreams of violence, of wanting to break people's skulls and necks and things like that. But he seems to have this meditative state where he can stop that from happening, I guess, from being called the monk. And he's such an out there character that he won't even play in goal properly. He will run up halfway up the pitch and just have a shot on goal. Why not? I love characters like that are just these wild cards. And eventually he does actually apologise because he makes a mistake and he realises he's let his team down. And that apology is such a leap in character for who he actually has been for the whole film. So simple, but so effective. They cleverly write the guards and the prison staff to be scummy people who put on a face, a persona that they are nice people, but realistically they're just abusing their powers to the absolute hilt. Whereas the convicts are regretful. They have made terrible mistakes, terrible decisions, and yet they seem to be regretful of their actions, and they want to have another chance at life if they can get one. But they do well to make sure that it's not totally biased. It's not every convict. This is not Mickey's Clubhouse here. Several of them are nasty characters that don't agree with the whole mean machine, happy days routine, and I thought that was clever that they did that. And finally, of course, the game itself is fantastic to watch. It's so enjoyable. It's relatable. Again, you get to see the characters perform in ways that you will definitely recognise. The 2 commentators, Bob and Bob, they're excellent. They're so funny. The dialogue that they say is so good.
And once again, Monk's played it out to Trojan, who's again switched to the left, Bob.
Well, he must be ambidextrous, Bob.
I don't know about that, Bob, but he certainly can use both feet.
It's just the ending in itself is so feel good that even if you haven't really enjoyed the build-up to the final game, I feel like the final game on its own is enough for you to enjoy that you could potentially change your whole opinion about what you'd seen prior to it. That bit is perfect, in my opinion. So I'm going to give Mean Machine an 8 out of 10. My only real problems with the film are kind of not even the film's fault. It's the fact that this story really has been done to death. Like I said at the very beginning, there's so many different renditions of this tale. It does get a bit dull, a bit repetitive at times, especially if you've seen it before, so the rewatch value might not be there. However, that being said, I still find this hugely enjoyable. I even think it's quite competently made and written very well, and I like the performances a lot. So thanks for watching this review. If you could leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.